as we've experienced this evening, our evening started in darkness. It started with a fire that was then lit, and then candles that we all brought into the church with us as the light entered into the darkness. And our readings today kind of give us the arc of salvation history, where the light of God starts to enter into the darkness of the world, and where that light starts to shine more and more brightly. And I just wanted to say one word as we've celebrated this Triduum about how wonderful those celebrations have been, how beautiful the music have been, how touching it has been for each of the participants as we've walked through these things. And at St. Pat's, one of our characteristics is often that we like things to go big, right? We like the shiny, the new, the fast, the large, like the innovation and all of that kind of thing. And today was an example of that, right? This morning we had an epic helicopter egg drop. I rode in the helicopter and I dropped 2,200 eggs out on a field. I didn't hit anybody. And that's okay, right? That's good. That's an exciting thing that builds enthusiasm and energy. But I'll tell you, that's not the defining characteristic of our parish community. Yesterday, at the adoration of the cross, I cried almost the entire time as I sat up here and I watched person after person with story after story that I know of great triumphs and tragedies, of lives that have been given sacrificially for the good of others, for the baptisms and marriages that have been celebrated. But each of them came up and in their own way so uniquely and tenderly adored the cross. Christ is at the center of our community. Christ is in the midst of us as we celebrate this Triduum. And sure, there are wonderful big things that we can do, but it's Christ in each of our hearts and in the heart of our community that matters most. And today we hear that light that has come into the darkness has conquered death, has conquered that sin that has held us in slavery. And that light is Jesus Christ risen from the grave. And so the central question for us is really, is Christ the center of our lives? Is he the one that holds everything else together, not just being tangential or adjacent, but central to our lives? I've seen it in so many lives where he is. And that we celebrate tonight that is the truth of our community, of our living, of the reason we gather, is because Christ is at the center. Christ risen from the dead is the one who holds us all together. And our lives, when Christ is at the center, don't magically become easy. How many of you have had an easy life, right? They don't become easy, but they make sense. It's not perfect, but it does become right. That we understand how our lives have purpose and meaning, and that the chaos and the confusion and the suffering and the struggle, that those things aren't for nothing, that they have purpose in Jesus Christ, that our lives have meaning in him. And so we celebrate with great joy the resurrection of Jesus, because that has brought us together this evening, because that has given each of us new hope, because those who are to be baptized tonight will receive that new life in Christ, the light that shines brightly in this darkness. And each of our lives, as we draw Christ more closely to the center, start to reflect that light more fully. That each of our lives, like the candles we carried into this church, become light in darkness, light in a world that so desperately needs it, light in lives that are looking for hope. And so may we receive that light, and may we, as we make Christ the center of our very lives, be that light for others.